Hello, James.
How's it?
How are you, sir?
I'm lekker, man. No
Good.
complaints. Very happy.
That's good news.
How about you?
No, I'm also well. Don't complain.
Good to hear. Good to hear. What's your weather like at your side of the world?
It's gloomy, but hot, humid.
Yeah. Oh. No, it's
Where are you?
yeah.
Afternoon.
It's fantastic here in Cape Town. I've been waiting for the weather to turn and become muggy and rain, but it hasn't. Like,
Okay.
so, I told you we started gym the other day, so now we walk across the road, my dad and I. So in the
Okay.
morning, I said to him, "We'll see how gung ho we are when it's raining and it's dark."
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
Chris, how's it?
I'm okay, James. Tried calling you. I don't know if you saw my missed call.
I got it just before I got on here. I saw it and sorry, man. Yes.
Did you see my message as well?
No, I didn't see the message.
I sent a WhatsApp as well. So what has been happening is that from 8 o'clock the guys have been in 2 sessions, one after another, and then they asked to say if maybe are we able to postpone this week to next week. We just
Sure.
finished like 10 minutes ago. 10
Sure.
minutes ago, we just
Yeah,
finished
yeah.
it. So, yeah,
100%. No worries at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was not sure of it. This was the guys in the individual team, Gert's team, and the other team. I was not, because there's other portfolios as well. I'm not sure of them, but from the guys in my team, the Kata, Siniselo, the Masana, the teammates, we've been
Alright.
like in the morning.
Well, let's
One
see.
after-
Gert, are we good to postpone until next week?
Yeah, we can. I'm eager to hear what you're going to say, because I can see the opportunity here, but if Chris and them have got problems, we'll fit in.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes, the guys continues fine, but the other guys, they just finished like 10 minutes ago.
Oh no, no, it doesn't make sense to continue. It's like everybody needs to go, because I'm at that point with everybody where we're starting to sort of put it together. So maybe what we'll do then, Chris, that's fine. Let's do that. And then I'll just spend some time with Gert and Lucas, and we can just chat about other things, sort of do a bit of a Q&A and just see if he's got questions or whatever. Let's do that then. And we'll do the next step next week.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. I put you around 11 so that it's
I saw, man. Sorry. You know, when I'm on calls, like, because if you see my calendar, I was literally from the word go. I had enough time to go to the toilet, and I quickly looked at it. Because I wasn't actually sure. I looked at it and said, "Who's this?" Oh, Chris. Because it comes with your first name. That I was like, "Who's this? Who's this guy?" No, okay, it's Chris. No, I got it.
Okay. No,
So-
but then thanks for understanding.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll see you guys next week. No worries. 100%. Okay, cool. Gert, how'd you guys go? Do you want to discuss anything specific?
Look, what I've done, I have obviously I think my page is relatively okay. As I added my story section there. But what I've done, I've just tested the waters with a couple of invitations, to see how it's just going and stuff. And I see there's reaction. Obviously, the platform is becoming alive, because I can see LinkedIn is sending me stuff, to that 0-month payment, and I got 2 invitations, and I got connected to, I think, 2 or 3 people that I wanted to get connected. But obviously, I didn't send it to target specific people yet. I just saw, maybe let me take a chance with it. One, she said, actually, at Old Mutual, I had a meeting with her. So she responded, but I didn't do. But that's why I'm actually keen to see. Listen, how can we hit it? Because I never thought LinkedIn is actually a network opportunity. I always thought it's just a job seeking bullshit platform. I didn't see it,
Yeah.
but I can see it now. I can see the potential now. Are you with me? So that's what I want to do is to. So I've got other ideas as well. Lucas are with me. I've got a list of every single retirement fund in South Africa.
How many are on that list?
With 6,000
Oh, wow.
names.
Really? But how many funds are there?
Yes, sir.
6,000 funds.
There's a more of a lot. 6,000, more than 6,000.
Looks a
But that's not unclaimed benefit. Yes.
Yes.
So I started to. So I wanted to. Lucas and myself had a quick chat, and on that Excel spreadsheet, there's the names of all the principal officers as well.
Okay.
So for me to connect with the principal officers is just to punch in the name in the search and see if it matches guy and see if I can connect with all the principal officers on that list. So that's my strategy.
Okay. So it's a very good
And
place to start.
obviously, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I mean, is it just a brain fart, or is it something substantial one can use? Or because I see this LinkedIn is a more of a network opportunity than obviously getting a new position somewhere as well. But it's majority it's a network platform, isn't it?
Yes and no, but yes, right. So what you'll find with LinkedIn
Okay.
is that people tend in their own little networks to, and unless they're being very specific, like you're being now, right? What they'll tend to do is they'll connect with their peers. That's generally where it starts. And if you look at your connections, you might find a lot of that sitting in there, right? So now the great thing about people connecting with their peers is when you make that decision to go and connect with somebody who's your ideal client, right? And they accept your connection request. Remember, they've got that first, second, third level. So now they accept your connection request. So that now means that you guys are first level connections. So that means that all of their first level connections now become your second level. And these are the prime guys for you to target, right? And so your mind is already starting to think like that in terms of very specific people. So when we connect, people tend to go into LinkedIn for three main reasons, right? They go to buy stuff, they go to sell stuff, or they go to learn stuff, right? So part of being on a quote unquote social network is that it's not necessarily all about sales. Hey, do you want to buy my LinkedIn service to learn how to get new leads? Like that's just typical salesperson. Don't want to talk to you. That's not cool. But when you're connecting with those principal officers, right, and they look at you, they can see, because now your profile is also going to reflect that, and where you're saying, are you ready for coffee and member education, navigating retirement funds, strategy, compliance, and expertise, let's talk. So those people look at it, they look at your headline, because that's the first thing they're going to see, is it's like, oh wow, I wonder what this is all about. This is speaking to me. Right? It's very specific. And if they get into the rest of your profile, it's just as specific. So the chances of those people, if they're on LinkedIn and they're engaging, accepting your connection request are very high. So now you've started the first level. You've got them to connect. Now the question is, like, well, what happens now? So all sorts of things can happen now, because now you get an email address. And now I like to start conversations with people. So this is the real networking piece that you were sort of referring to, right? And you can start a conversation for all sorts of things, you know, and the more conversations you start with people, the better. And ultimately, you want to eventually talk about what it is that you do. But, you know, imagine that. Let's take this example. You and me, we don't know each other. So Virgil invites us over to his place for a fry. So we're going to watch the Springboks play the All Blacks, right? So you're there, I get there, and I walk up to you. I say, hey, how's it? I'm James. I put my hand out. Hey, I'm Chad. How's it going? what's the next thing I'm going to say to you? Okay. It's probably not, hey, do you need help with LinkedIn? And that's what happens. You know, when you accept a connection request with someone, and then the next minute you get that automated message that says, hey, we do all of these things. Are you interested? Or, hey, do you want a virtual coffee? It's like, no, fuck off, dude. You don't know that. Just like say, how's it, man? So that's not what I'm saying to you. I'm going to say to you, hey, Chad, how do you know Verge? And then you'll tell me your story, and you'll ask me, how do I know him? And I'll tell him, and then we'll start talking. Or I might have said, hey, we're going to move the All Blacks. And then, we're going, and then we start talking rugby. And but now we've broken our ice, right? And then later on, it'll so Chad, what do you actually do? Right? That fucking conversation comes later. But there's a little bit of rapport that's been built. And we're building rapport because we had reason to start with, right? You and I know Verge. He's invited us. There's something in common. You and the principal officers have the industry in common. There's something in common. It's not an unusual thing for them to accept your connection request. If I send them a connection request, it might be a bit strange. But if you send them, it's like, yeah, let's connect. Sure. Right. And so, as you'll see, so that would have been part of the lesson today, was to actually teach you how to do that. So you'll have to another week to get into that. But fundamentally, I'm just giving you kind of like the thinking, the thought process as you start to do that. So a lot of it is the messaging and the sequencing and building the rapport. And this is now where you see all that hard work that we did up until now culminated in your profile. Your profile is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you now. So if you think about it, what's happening is you're going to go and find those guys, those principal officers, and then you send them a connection request. So intelligent people, people that are going to have a conversation with you and potentially become your client, right? Those people are going to have a natural question. Who is Gert? That's the question. If you send me a connection request, I'm going to say, who are you? Let me go and have a look. And then they'll go to your profile. And this is now where all of that hard work we did before, the profile does the selling. And you'll find that obviously the first thing we want is just for them to accept the connection request. Okay. But for guys that are interested, so let's say so one of these guys has been wrestling with this coffee thing. And he's been thinking about it. It's sort of been on his mind. He knows it's coming, but he's like, put it to the back. But now it's like, okay, maybe there's a guy, he'd actually be quite useful to know. So let me connect. And he might actually be the one to start the conversation with you. Hey, Gert, thanks, man. Awesome. I couldn't help but notice you talking about coffee. Yeah, it's a bit of an issue. Can you tell me a bit more about it? Or maybe we can have a chat about it sometime. And you'll get those messages, right? And you get that not because you sent a connection request, but because they went to your profile, they saw who you were, they saw your credentials, they understood what you were doing and saying, you know what? I actually have a need for what Gert is offering. And that's why, are you on the right track? Of course, you're 100% on the right track. You're dealing, all those people that you identified, all those little avatars, you've got them. So let me show you something, which I won't bother with the other guys, but this will be more useful for you. So if I let me just get the, let's pop you here. You need to get Sales Navigator. Not now, just wait a week or two, but definitely for you, it's going to be very, very valuable. Let's move you to the other side. So
Sales Navigator, what is that?
So the way that LinkedIn is structured is that LinkedIn has got, call it 1.2 billion people in their database. In South Africa, as I'll show you in a minute, somewhere between 13 and 14 million. Right, so that's probably what we're looking at. You're obviously looking at a lot less. Now, what LinkedIn has done, sometimes you go online and it says, hey, if you want this ebook or you want to register for my event, give me your name and details, your name and email address. They call that in the trade a lead magnet, right? I'm getting your details as a lead because I've created something that is important to you. Now, LinkedIn, the free version, is probably the most successful lead magnet ever in the history of the world. They give it away free. Everybody uses it. LinkedIn's got all your fucking details because you did that, right? This is fantastic. So now what they've done is they said, okay, look, we've got this functional product that we've created. Everybody can use it, but they limit our use. So you will find very soon you will get quite frustrated because you're trying to do more searches or you're trying to visit more profiles and LinkedIn saying, no, Gert, it looks like you're a power user. Tell you what, either pay us some money and then we'll give you access, right? Or don't worry, you can come back next month, sorry, and we'll reset the limits to 0. But then you go through the same shit again next month. So the paid version is a different product, but it still uses the same details in the same database called Sales Navigator. So now, obviously, if you pay, they must make it worth your while to pay. So they do. They give you a lot more options, right?
Okay.
So Sales Navigator is just LinkedIn on steroids. And the big benefit for us is that it allows us to use the filters. So if I give you an example, right? So I'll just start here at Chris. So let's say you were looking for what's a typical job description of somebody that you want to target?
A principal officer of a retirement fund.
Principal officer, and then I'm going to say.
Because you get principal officer for medical aid, and you get a principal officer for a retirement fund. Yeah.
Let's see what we get. So on LinkedIn, right? If I type this in, you'll see there's all these and I haven't done this session with you, but this is part of it. If I click on people that are principal officers and of retirement funds, so far they're telling me 624, but this is everywhere, right? Now, if I click on all filters, these are the filters that we have available on LinkedIn. Okay, so as you'll see, which connections are they, first, second, or third? Where are they? So we'd want them to be in South Africa. Now, if I click any one of these, this number here, as I add more filters, as you can see, it's now changed this number down to 345. So there's quote unquote 345 people that have got the principal officer and retirement fund on their profile. And if we have a look at it, we can see here principal officer Sentinel, deputy principal executive retirement fund, etc., etc. So these might be quite good for you, right? You'd have to go through each individual person, but we've got technically a list of 345 in South Africa. But just to finish the explanation here. These are the filters we have. So in this case, we chose a location filter. If you wanted a specific company, you would choose that. It's very unlikely we would do that unless you were looking for something specific. These are your connections and followers. Not particularly useful for this. Then past companies, again, do we care? No. School, which universities did they go to? Useful? Not really, unless under circumstances. Industry, yes. So financial services, yes. Capital markets, probably. Maybe investment management. This is depending on how they classified themselves, right? Yes. So we could use this or not. We won't bother for now because that was pretty good. You can see that we don't have too many choices in the profile language, because in South Africa, LinkedIn only recognizes English. So all of the other official languages are a moot point, so we don't really care. This only really counts if you're dealing outside and you're going into, say, Europe or South America, that type of thing. Open to volunteering, we don't really care. If they say they're in particular categories, again, this is not something you'll use, and then other keywords and job titles. So I could have actually put principal officer here. I could have done this, right? And then I could have changed this just to retirement funds. Let's see what happens if I you get a different answer. See, 97. And the reason it's a different answer is because of the way the filters are structured. So, so you see, there's kind of different ways. But as you saw from the all filters, not a whole lot of opportunity, right? Sales Navigator, though, different story. Okay. So now we go and you've got all of these filters over here. Okay. So again, typically when we start, I like to start with the geography. So I'll say South Africa, right? So it has to be from the list. So you start typing and it brings up a list. Will obviously be there, so we include that. And then you'll see now, because I've selected a filter up here on the top right, it starts to tell you how many people there are. Now, because we're paying for Sales Navigator, now they say, all right, now we'll show you everybody. On LinkedIn, all it showed me was the people that were in my network. Here it's showing me everybody. Okay.
Okay.
So I know that the total size of our market is 13 million. So let's do that same search that we did before. So we said principal officer and right. Let's just see what we get. It could be interesting. So last time we had 347 or something. We get less, oddly enough.
Okay.
Yeah, retirement fund.
Okay.
Why would we get less?
Isn't it only considering South African instead of the other one?
Yeah, but when I did South Africa, we came down to when I took this keyword out. Whoops. LinkedIn works in mysterious ways, clearly. So I selected people in South Africa, which tip. Let me just see if the search term is exactly the same. I think it is. Huh. That is very interesting. Normally you would get more here.
But what I picked up here is on the previous one here, I can see if you scroll down, everybody here is on retirement funds. One name that popped up there is a principal officer of a medical aid on the previous non-paid version, non-sales navigated version. Here you asked for principal officers of retirement funds. It was only, you can see at the bottom. Oh no. The previous version was only they a medical aid principal officer, which not interested in.
Yeah. So you will get better results on Sales Navigator, regardless of how we did it. Like I could, again, I could take this out. So now we'll go back to our 13 million, and then there's other filters. So I could have said, what's the current job title, right? And then I could have said principal officer. Obviously, principal officer can be anything, so you'll get lots. And then again, we could have said, let's do this actually. Let's go to industry just for fun, and let's say financial services. So you're going to get a lot of very different people, and there's lots of different ways to search.
Okay.
Something else that's really cool that you can't do on LinkedIn that you can do on Sales Navigator is you'll see up here, it talks about lead filters, which is people, and it talks about account filters. So account filters are companies, right? So give me one of those, an example of one of those funds. Let's go and search for one of them.
Naspers.
So Naspers, what am I going to call it? Naspers.
Retirement fund, yeah.
No. They may not list the funds. Give us another
BMW
one.
or Mercedes or Mercedes or BMW.
Let me try BMW. So BMW retirement. Not so much. Let's just try retirement fund. Also, one of the things you typically want to do if you want the words retirement fund to come up in your search, you'd actually put it in inverted commas.
Okay.
Otherwise, it brings up different things for the word retirement and the word fund as opposed to all of them. So here's a whole bunch of them, right? So the first one here is just because it's the first one, a retirement fund for local authorities and utility services. in Namibia. Okay, let's not talk about yeah, the fund board, YMCA fund. Let's see who these dudes are, right? So if I open this to show you, it will now take me to the company page that's been created for this fund, right? And you can see there's some information. So we know that there's 101 employees. Typically, there's 3 decision makers.
Okay.
Gives you a little bit of a layout. And if I want to find out about this company, they didn't say much. They just said we aim to be leading provider of retirement fund administration, delivering service and highest quality, blah, 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 right? So imagine we did want to find these employees. If I now click on this, now what it does is it takes me back to the lead filters that where we were before, except it's now populated the name. And all of those 101 people are here.
Okay.
Okay. 102 results because the first one
Okay.
is the company. Now you can find out exactly. So now we can use these so let's say we wanted to go back now and we wanted principal officer. Right. Let's see. Okay, they don't have somebody called a principal officer. But
or a trustee, retirement fund trustee. Yeah.
So somebody with just, I did spell that right. Maybe we just picked a shitty example. But you can use all of these other filters, and there's a lot more obviously here than there are on LinkedIn to find it. So you can go from company backwards, or like you've got it. But yeah, if you've got a list of people, absolutely. And on Sales Navigator, I think I haven't actually done it, but I think there's an opportunity if you're on the paid version. You might have to be on the team version actually, which is ridiculous money. You can actually update the whole list, and LinkedIn will go and try and find them for you, and then it'll build a list in Sales Navigator for you of the people. But I don't know that we'll be able to do that with the version that we use.
What are the costs of being on the paid version?
The costs are $1,250 a month. In fact, they might have actually increased it. I might be wrong. It might actually be $1,500.
Okay.
Yeah. I paid $1,250, I think. But
but you can pay it on a month-to-month basis. You can pay it now and then stop it for this month and then pay it in 2 months' time. And
you can. The problem though, yes and no. So technically yes. The problem is you lose all of your data, because what happens is see we build these lists. So these are all my lead lists. So at the moment I'm prospecting into the UK. So you'll see every day I build a list. So there's 65 people. There's 59. All of this data I'll lose if I skip even one payment. Yeah.
Okay.
So Sales Navigator is very, very powerful. Like
I can see it.
Especially for you, I would say you should just get it. Like what you should do though when you get it is find somebody else who's got it, either in your office or at Momentum or whatever, and ask them to gift you. So like over here, everybody that's got Sales Navigator's got this button here. Then if you click on this, now unfortunately I've given all of mine away. But if I type in somebody here, so let's say I wanted to gift this chickie here. See, this connection is she's not eligible. Actually, give 2 free. Let's try this, maybe. As a top promoter, you can continue sending 5 referrals beyond. Yeah, but I've done that now. I'm going to try to send this to you. You fuckers, you see. Can't send it because I've exceeded my limit. That's so stupid. They let you give 10 away. Then they say, okay, you can give another 5. Every single fucking person I've given this to has bought this product. Now they say don't give away anymore. Like, how fucking stupid are they?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is just find someone who hasn't given them all away, which is most people. Let them just do this and send you. Then you get 2 months free. You can test this thing for you. You can build a list like it's coming out of your ears. You can save the list. And then if you need to cancel it, you can. But you'll have all the people to speak to.
Okay.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. Idiots.
Okay, so but I've got someone that can send me something like this for me. My next, I don't want to jump the gun because I know we are going to be busy, but there's two questions quickly. This Guru Magotsi on this meeting, when I know he's also interested in what I'm doing and stuff like. My question is, do you think we should align our pages, or do you think we should keep it separate? If we want to hunt the same type of profile, principal officers or trustees, do you think will the algorithm work then jointly for us to reach more people, or do you think it's still better to keep it separate?
So remember, for each individual user on LinkedIn, right? They've got their own profile. So your network is not the same as his network, for the simple reason you've sent a connection request and that person has accepted or not. But what you do want to do, right, is you want to have a certain congruence, because what happens is that somebody will find one of your profiles through whatever means, maybe because you're sending them a connection request. Then let me actually show you what this looks like. This is what actually happened in practice. If I actually show you instead of tell you. So I'm just going to use my profile just to illustrate this to you. So if now, right, you get to the profile, typically what happens is people get the profile, they look at the banner, right? They see what's on the banner. So that's why you want to have some strong text. I don't want to go over your profile. Let me just open this in a new one. So you could put some strong text up here if you want to. I would suggest you probably do. So like I have, because when people get to your profile, the eye tends to be drawn towards this because it's the natural place. It's different to everything else, and I'm just letting people know very quickly. So they'll look at that. They'll look at your photo just to see, and people judge, right? We humans, that's what we do. So a nice sort of smiling, congenial photo is good. Then they look at the name, which at this stage may mean nothing. Your name, because you are connecting to a very specific group of people. They may know your name, but they may not. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna go and have a look at this here. If they like what they see, they're gonna scroll right. Then they'll get into the about section. They might click on it and read through this. Okay. So you'll remember when we did this, there was a lot of personalization and your history in there. And then typically they might look at some of this featured stuff. They might look at posts, but they'll go down to the experience section, right? And then what they'll often do is they'll actually click on it, and it will take them to, if you have a company page. Do you have one? I'm not sure. If you do, you're probably sending it to Momentum, which is definitely not what you want to do. Right? You don't want to send it to Momentum. You must send it to your own page. You must make a page, because if you send it here, they've fucking lost to somebody else. You must send. You worked hard to get that lead. You must control that lead yourself, right? That's anyway. That's it's a discussion for another day. But just remember. So people go here. They open up the company page. This is what they see, right? And you'll see it's very similar. It's just this banner's a bit thinner, and instead of the profile pic, there's a logo. It's a company page. You've got 2,000 characters to talk about your company, right? And then from here, people can also just go to the website. And so this is a very typical way of what people do, right? But the other thing people could do is that you see here, I've got 2 to 10 employees. So if I click on the employees now, that's my mother. But if you look at the employees, you can now see, right? So if people were on your profile, they might go from here, they would find Lucas's and vice versa. So what you want to happen, right, is when we look at your profile, again, if this is not exactly his value proposition, that's fine, right? But again, if you're trying to do the same thing and you're chasing the same thing, you might want to align. Again, over here in the about section, he'll have something that's specific to him, but he might take this exact text, not the work why work with me. He'd have his own reason, but he might take the exact stuff because it's the same, and put it in. All this stuff will then change because this is now personal to him, and he'd have his own details, obviously. And then again, okay, you haven't quite got to the experience section. You've got more opportunity to put information in there. So I would align it where we can if you are looking for the same thing, but then you put your own personalized spin on it. And then, like, a really good strategy is share your connections with each other. So you give him a list and you say, listen, I'm connected to all these oaks. And then he sends them a message, say, hey, I see you connected to Gert, I'll work with him. Hey, I thought we should be connected too. Like a stupid message like that will probably get them to connect, and you do the same. So then now the oaks on the other side are saying, oh, hang on, there's two of these oaks all the same company. It helps with the whole networking thing. So does that sort of answer your question in terms of?
Yes, it does. It does.
What to do?
Lucas and Masaula, we will have a chat. And then my other question is, I don't want to jump again, so you don't need to tell me everything now, because we're still going to be on a couple of episodes. But remember, you are in your field, you're targeting financial advisors doing retail business, selling policies left, right, and center. But what is the critical turning point in getting clients? What is the deurslag? What do you call it? The breakthrough? What is it?
It's kind of hard to say that it's one thing. So the particular process that I'm taking you guys through is the basics, but it's more than the basics, right? It's the proper foundation. So the first thing that you've got to do is to be very clear of your own offer and to be able to present that. Then the next step is exactly as I'll teach you next week, is this idea of actually starting to reach out to the right people, because you've done a lot of the hard work, right? And so is everybody else, right? They kind of know who they're dealing with, etc. Then what happens? What happens is this. If you don't know this, let me just find someone. The reason that all of this shit works is because of this little triangle. This little triangle is a universal truth. Okay? Doesn't matter what you sell. Retirement fund, consulting, financial services, LinkedIn, hotels, cars, hot dogs. Doesn't matter. Typically in any market, and this has been the same for the last 60 years, there's 1 to 3% of people are in the market. They're looking for your solution right now. They're looking for what you sell. Huh? There's another 6 to 7%. They're not necessarily looking, but like if you start to talk to them, they're quite open-minded. They'll listen to you, and if they like it, they'll engage. Right? So the reality is the thing that I'm teaching you guys now is really rooted in this top 10%. What happens after that, right? And this is the maybe more of the networking and the follow-up messaging that we spoke about. There's another 30% of your market that are not thinking about it. So it's not top of mind at all. You have to somehow get their attention. So if you try to get their attention by sending them a direct message, like, because they're not thinking about it, your message just falls on deaf ears. Because no, not really.
Yeah.
So you've got to engage in a different way and then bring them into the conversation and say, oh, by the way, can I show you this? This might be interesting. Or did you realize that this is as big a problem as it actually is? Right. And if you can get past that hurdle, then these guys will speak to you. These guys are even harder because not only are they not thinking about it, but they don't even think that they're interested. So even in your first attempt, they might say no. You've got to work a little bit harder to get them, but it doesn't mean that they won't. They don't think so. So it's just harder to get them. But if you put a good proposition on the table, they'll still listen to you. This last 30% doesn't matter what you do, you're never going to close them, right? So the reality is our target market is 70%.
Okay.
But for most of us, most people do not have the fortitude and the stickability and the willingness to continue to build relationships and to follow up to get into this. So we are typically looking probably at the top 3 to 10%. So what happens, right? When you send 100 connection requests a week to the right people, a certain percentage connect. And I don't know what it will be for you. It depends on a lot of things. Every industry is different, but we average somewhere between 30 and 60%.
Okay.
Right? That tends to be the average. We'll only know when you do it because your industry is different to mine, etc. Then what's going to happen is that, let's call it 1 to 3. I like to say 1 to 5 because of the work that we do with the profile. So 1 to 5% of those guys will be interested, and typically they will actually start conversations with you. And even if they don't, you can start conversations later with them, and they'll actually chat to you. So that's the first part, is like getting your profile sorted, understanding this, and then doing the outreach. So you're building a network. That's part 1. Part 2 then is, if you then want to you get really good at this, you need to understand how to get good at messaging, right? So it's not just the couple of messages I'm showing you. I'm showing you the basic stuff to get it started. But after that, when the conversation has got cold, how do you continue to engage? So that's a skill in itself. And then probably the last real piece of this is adding some content into it, where you're writing good content so that people can see. Because what happens is, when you send a connection request to someone and they accept, and then you engage further with the second message, what then happens is that the algorithm will show them the last content that you created for about 2 weeks. She puts it in their feed because they're current connections. If they engage with your content, it will keep showing it. If they don't, then it will stop. So you get quite a lot of additional benefit by stacking all of the pieces of LinkedIn on top of each other. But the quick answer, the quickest way to the goal line answer to your question for you is understanding that you're dealing with 1 to 5% probability, and you just need to be consistent. So the key thing for you at this stage is going to be to do that weekly and then monthly, daily and then weekly outreach, I should say. So you're building your network, and of course, the more people that connect with you, the more of your ideal clients will get into your network. Because today a guy has a second level connection, he accepts, suddenly he's a first level, all of his all of his first degree connections now become your second. Suddenly they're in your network where they weren't yesterday, and so it grows exponentially. This is the great beauty of a niche. A niche is fucking awesome, like, because before you know it, you're connected to everybody. Like, if there is a financial advisor in South Africa who is not in my network, they're not worth speaking to. And I mean that legitimately. Like, that means they're not on LinkedIn, or they're not using LinkedIn properly, because my network is so big that my network, and my network, second and third degree, just basically, in fact, I'll show this to you. Look at this. If I show you on Sales Navigator, right? Look at this. If I'm on Sales Navigator, actually, let me just open a new one, because I feel like messing with this thing. So if I'm on Sales Navigator and I go to lead filters and we go to geography, so South Africa, right? So if we look at South Africa, we see that there's 13 million plus results, right? Now, if I go to my connections and I say my first degree connections, so you see that I have, I've got 7.5 in South Africa, right? I think I've got over 12,000 connections, but a lot of them are in the UK and the US. But in South Africa, I have 7,500 plus results. Okay. Now, if I say, okay, show me the first and the second degree, suddenly, so with 7.5 million people in my first degree, I have 1 million in my second degree. So my connections, there's 1 million people. And then if I add third plus, it's basically everybody. See? So if I'm looking for so again, let's get out of here and let's go and just for argument's sake, say financial advisor. So financial advisor. Okay, so there's 28,000. So let's go see. So if I go first level connections, how many do I have in South Africa? Rubbish. Obviously, I have more than 1,000. But okay, it's telling me 1,000. Second degree, 10,000, and then third
Sure.
degree is everybody else. Right. So essentially, like I can send connection requests to speak to you because they're all in my network. Anyone who's a financial advisor in South Africa is in my network somewhere. So this is the beauty of niching. It grows exponentially very quickly, and then you eventually connect to everybody, which is quite cool.
Okay. Last question is,
Shoot.
now that me and Guru, we left in this group, so we had a contract with Transnet, okay?
Yep. Yeah.
So if we want to target Transnet members, okay?
Yep.
How do we do that? Can it be impossible, everybody with Transnet email addresses? Or should we first focus on the company and then the members? Or is it, should we work through your filters, or how does it work?
Your filters will be your best, right? So
Okay.
okay, let's get rid of all this shit here. So we'll stay. So now again, I would go to account. Then I type in Transnet. Okay, Transnet not be listed on LinkedIn.
There's different departments. There's port terminals.
Oh, let's just do this and see.
Let's take. Oh,
Probably the first one, freight and package transport. Let's assume it's
Yeah.
them.
yeah.
So I'll just open that in a new tab. I should leave it there. Right. So package freight company based in Belgium. Oh, that's nice. I don't know if this is us. Must be us because I said South
No.
Africa. Did I not? I did not. Okay, hang 10. Let's do headquarters and yes, let's do that. Probably them. Oh, there you go. So you got all these. Okay, let's just take the first one. So now we know that there's excuse me 11. You can see here we've got 11,000 employees, right? So if I click on that, it'll then take me to the other filters. Now you know that these oaks all work at Transnet. All 11,000 of these people. And now what you can do is you can use the rest of these filters to narrow it down.
To send them requests.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, I think it's good for me and Lucas to work together, or not work together, but just to apply our minds.
Yes. Very much so.
James, would you recommend, if we're going to target Transnet, to change our page to specifically them, or
No.
can we keep it the way cards pages?
Yeah, no, you can keep it the same. So Gert is company agnostic. Like he can basically deal with anybody. So no. Transnet brand Transnet, you just brand yourselves. So just keep it as is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then my last question, what can we do with preparation, extra preparation for next week to be more prepared for next week, or can we just take it as we go?
I would take it as you go because I got like last week I actually only got halfway through what I wanted to show because I felt that what I had shown people they need to implement, and then I'll show them some other stuff, and then I need to show you how to do some messaging. So the next couple of weeks probably. It'll take 2 weeks to get through all of that stuff. That's where you'll really start to learn the basics. And then I think what's going to happen after that is going to be for everybody to say, okay, now can we start actually applying it? And once I've done that, then what I'll do is I'll have one-on-one sessions with everybody. You guys, I might be a one-on-two, right? And then we'll take a much closer look at everything. So make sure everything is like it should be, or give you some other pointers. And we pick stuff up. Like, for example, you guys haven't got your, I can't say you guys, I haven't looked at Lucas's, but you don't have anything in your experience section. You must fill that in. That stuff's very, very important so that people can see. So we'll make sure that your profile is reflective. We'll work out exactly what you want. I'll make sure your targeting is right. And then, yeah, it's just a case of getting on with it. And then what we'll probably do with the sessions, instead of trying to teach you new stuff all the time, is like you guys are doing now. This is the most valuable part, actually. So this is a big bonus for you, is that when you start actually implementing, that's when the intelligent questions come up. And then we get into stuff like this that ordinarily we wouldn't cover. And that's how you just get better and better. And you'll say, oh shit, I'm sending it, but I'm not getting responses. And we say, okay, let's see what's happening. Maybe your message is cuck. Maybe we need to change something on your on your page. Maybe we're targeting the wrong person. It could be all sorts of things, and that's kind of the way we get it dialed in. So, yeah, the next couple of weeks will be quite pivotal for a lot of this stuff. And as I say, after that, I'll work with each person, because then I want everybody to actually start using these tools and to be consistent. Because the more consistent you are, that's what gets you the clients, right? So if you go back here, this is the reason it works. Is because there's if you think about this, right, a lot of people will say no to you, but there's always people buying something. That's the reality of the world. Like, if you don't need a new car now because you bought one 3 years ago, you don't need a new car. You're not a buyer of cars. But there's some other oak that is, because he bought a car 7 years ago. Now it's time, right? So there's always people that are buying, and so the system that I'm teaching you really leverages this principle, where we're saying we don't know who they are, but we're going to keep connecting with them. And if we keep building our connection base with the right people, even if you're not this oak today, maybe you might even be down here. And then suddenly you get fucking snotty message from the regulator, and suddenly you're top of mind. Now you're up here because fuck it, I need to sort this yesterday. Now they're a buyer, where 6 months ago they were not. Yes, who's that oak that sent me this shit? Let me go, and then they right, I remember that. Okay, can we chat? That's how this works. That's pipelines. It's normal stuff.
No, I get it. So
Jim,
thank you.
From my side, I just want to ask: is it possible for a person to have 2 LinkedIn pages, or are we limited to 1 page?
So technically, you're limited to 1, and for most people, practically as well. The reason being is that LinkedIn has a rule, so it's actually against their terms of service to have more than 1 page. If you do, they'll typically close one down if they find it. And remember, LinkedIn is run by an algorithm now, right? So if you do have a second page, you need to change the name or change something on it. But I don't advise it because it's very difficult to manage 2 pages as well. You'll find it gets very messy and very confusing. And LinkedIn are quite strict with terms of service. So some people have they created a profile 6 years ago, then they forgot about it. It's got 13 oaks on, and then they create a new one. That's as it causes cuck. Then you go and you close the old one, and you just have 1. So best advice is have 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think I'm quite eager, Beaver, to get started and to get the motions rolling, actually.
So you need to get through the next 2 sessions for this to really make sense. So take a breath. Just wait for a couple of weeks. Those lists that you've got are very useful. It's a really good way to start. So maybe you can start doing some sort of analysis on those lists. And kind of working through them and saying, okay, if I've got 6,000 names on this list, who are going to be my top guys in my second tier, maybe a third tier. So you can start thinking about that, because obviously for that you can type them into LinkedIn, right? So even on LinkedIn, just to show you, you have that ability. So where we were looking, so on LinkedIn, for
The normal
example,
LinkedIn,
yeah, even here, if you're looking at your filters, yeah, you can type in a first name and a last name, and if you know the company, you can type that in as well. So like you could take someone from that list, type it in here, and if they've got a LinkedIn profile, we'll show it to you. Or you could just type their name in here, and but then it tends to if you don't have a company, then it tends to show everybody. But that's something you could do. It's a little bit of PT, but it's PT worth doing because they targeted people.
Yeah.
So you've got the list elsewhere. Actually, I think that's an advantage often, because most people will be using LinkedIn and using the filters in a way. If you're coming with a list and just saying, okay, well, I've already got these people, they may not be able to be found by the people on LinkedIn. So you have a massive competitive advantage.
Okay. No, I'm happy. I think it's something we can start to work on. So can I still start with it?
What I would do if I were you?
Downsizing to people before I start, because I just randomly send out a couple just to see what the reaction is going to be.
Yeah, I would wait just a little bit. Get through the next two sessions, and maybe get to the next two sessions and have a one-on-one with me. Because then we can tweak properly and make sure that it's 100%, and then you can go full steam ahead. I'll show you how to do that. So essentially you're a week away, because no, you're not 2 weeks away. We're 2 weeks away from being able to do that. The reason I'm trying to talk you out of it at the minute is that typically what happens is that you tend to send your best prospects first. So you don't want to waste them.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy.
All right, lekker.
Guru?
I'm happiness. No questions, happiness.
All right, cool beans. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week.
100.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one. All right, guys. Cheers in. All right.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye.